Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about how to simplify the square root of a non-square number. Now it is assumed that you already know how to simplify the square root of a square number. So if you don't already know that, I suggest you learn that before watching this video. At least familiarize yourself with square numbers up to 169. Here are square numbers up to 169. You can pause this video to familiarize yourself with these numbers. Each one of these examples are slightly different, so I suggest you watch to the very end. Okay, so let's look at our first example. We have the square root of 125 and we want to simplify the square root. So I'm going to take the number that is under the square root and I'm going to write a factor tree. So we have 125 and I'm going to make a factor tree. So I have 5 and 25 because 5 times 25 is 125. So we are basically factoring 125. And now we're going to factor 25 further into 5 and 5. So here we have a perfect square, and whatever is left, we leave inside of the square root. So here we have 5 root 5. Okay? So that is how you do the first example. Moving on to our second example, we have the square root of 225. So I'm going to take 225 and I'm going to factor it. 225 factors into 5 and 45. And 45 factors into 5 and 9. 9 factors into 3 and 3. So here we have a perfect square and here we have a perfect square. So we're going to multiply the two perfect squares together, which is 5 and 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. Now question, could we have factored it a different way? Sure, you can factor it however you like as long as you are factoring it correctly. So I could have taken 225 and I could have factored it into 15 and 15. 15 is a perfect square, which gives us our answer here. It's just that it's not apparent right away that 225 factors into 15 and 15, so we usually have to break it down into smaller parts. Okay, so now let's look at the square root of 144. This is actually one of our easy ones. So we take 144 and right away we know that 144 factors into 12 and 12. So we get 12 here. Let us look at our last example here. We have the square root of 180 and we want to simplify the square root. So I'm going to take 180 and I'm going to factor it into 2 and 90. And then I'm going to take 90 and I'm going to factor it further into 2 and 45. And then we take 45 and we factor it into 5 and 9. And 9 factors into 3 and 3. Here we have a perfect square, here we have a perfect square, and we're going to leave 5 under the square root. Okay, so then we're going to multiply the two perfect square numbers together. And so we have 2 times 3, which is 6, and then we're going to leave the 5 under the square root. So we have 6 root 5. Okay?